So what do we do today? As we discussed, okay, we'll see something about launching an instance with respect to a script, bootstrap script, and also see about something else which we have to understand to load to create a load balance. Auto scaling. Right. So the next topic is after load balancer is auto scaling, and before we understand about auto scaling, we need to understand few things that we will see. We have also seen monitoring stuff, CloudWatch. Did you practice that? Creating alarms and then actions. Yes. Anything? That's fantastic. Have you all practiced with respect to CloudWatch? Created alarms? Okay, tell me, what and all actions we can set in an alarm? Yes.
Terminate, stop,
Come in instance check. No, I'm talking about alarms. Actions in an alarm. What and all actions we can set? Yes. So you haven't practiced that, right?
yes,
Not an issue. You please do that. Terminating an instance. So it's nothing but action with respect to an EC2. Then, so we can set three different type of actions. One is SNS notifications, that is simple notification service things like whatever it is happening, the alarm will notify you. The second thing is, okay, the alarm can be configured to auto scaling. So whenever the alarm rings, it will notify to an auto scaling group, so that auto scaling either spin up the instances or the spin down instances based on the alarms created. And the third notification, third action which we set with respect to an alarm is EC2 actions. EC2 actions are either you terminate the instance or you stop the instance. Anything you wanted to do with respect to that instance, you can do that. So there are three different type of alarms you can create. Okay, so That's about alarm, CloudWatch. And today, what do we do is we will see something creating instance with respect to an IAM role, how an IAM role is used with respect to an instance, okay, and what way it is used. So I'm going into EC2 section. But that before I do something, I must need to have an IAM role. So going into IAM, identity and access management. Don't worry, we will discuss this identity and access management clearly in detail. So in that IAM, going to roles, create a role. I'll say S3 full access. Don't worry, what I'm doing here is we will understand everything in detail in an in IAM section. So I have created one IAM role with respect to S3 full access, which means S3 is actually a storage, okay, and I have just created an IAM role with that storage full access. So whichever the instance of whichever the service is having this IAM role will have the full access to the storage whatever we have created. So that's what our motto is. Now let's see something about launching an instance with respect to an IAM role. So I'm going to create an instance. Okay, I'm selecting Linux instance, T2 micro, and here this is where, okay, I just give an IAM role. So what are the IAM roles I'm currently having? So which we have just created S3 full access. I'm attaching the same. Now this instance, okay, since I'm attaching this IAM role S3 full access to that, okay, automatically this instance will get the access to any storage created in our AWS. Okay, so that is what the IAM role is used for. What happens without this IAM role? I mean, for example, we are actually creating an instance, and that instance when logged, okay, when you wanted to access something, in the same IAM, what we have to do for each and every user we create, okay, each and every user we create, there will be some sort of access ID and secret access ID. We will understand all. all that stuff when we discuss about IAM, don't worry. But every user will have some sort of access ID and secret access ID. So this is what the access ID of a user created. With respect to this, credentials, user have to authenticate and then we'll be able to use something. So if you wanted, okay, to provide an access to something without any, logins, without somebody logging into that, then we use IAM role here. Once IAM role is attached, okay, automatically people will be able to use this based on the IAM role set. So here we have set S3 full access, which means people who log in to this particular instance will be able to access all the storage. So all the S3 storage we have created in our AWS environment. So that is what the best thing about IAM role is. Anything you have a doubt with, you can just ask me. I think it looks little strange for you guys, but it's quite simple. What I'll say, temp instance, I'll just say just temp. Since I'm creating it for temporary reason, don't worry about these notifications. Okay, they have changed some uh, parameters like instances, IDs, and things. So it will automatically come every time. The instance is getting ready. Okay, it's running now. Let's see what we can do with respect to this instance with an IAM role. I'll show you in a moment. Guys, please practice things based on day by day whatever we have discussed. Okay, so this instance is launched now and needed to have access to all the storage. So that's what we have to check now. Let's see what we can do with respect to this is. First of all, I'm turning myself to sudo. Yes. So I made myself a user. Now what I'll do is, okay, let me try to access. Of course, I do not have any storage or S3 buckets created, but let me just check. To use, okay, AWS CLI, AWS CLI in the sense everywhere, for example, if you just log into your computer or open your computer by default will have a normal command prompt, that is a DOS command prompt. Okay, so if you just go to um, so this is where CMD. So this is the general command prompt I'm talking about. So whatever the commands you wanted to execute, you have to execute in terms of normal DOS level. But apart from that, if you wanted to execute something else, some commands here in normal instance, Linux instance, you need to have some specific commands, and especially when you wanted to use some AWS resources. Okay, some AWS resources, you need to have AWS command line installed. So when you take Amazon Linux machine image, okay, Amazon Linux AMI, then automatically you'll have AWS CLI installed in that. So you can use all the commands of AWS CLI. AWS CLI is nothing but AWS command line interface. So AWS will also have certain command line that we will be executing, and we will check that. So here you see, when we are talking about this instance with respect to an IAM role, the best thing is when you wanted to use some certain uh, you know uh, services of AWS, all the way you need to get the permissions. Okay, you need to get yourself authenticated to access something in AWS with respect to this instance. So how do you do that to access something with respect to AWS? Okay, you will be able to do that with respect to this access key ID as a username, and when you create a user, not only access key ID but also some secret access key is provided to you, that is only for one time. Not to worry, we will discuss this again in IAM section when we talk about IAM. So providing this access ID and the secret access key, you authenticate yourself to access anything in this server. With respect to that, no, is there any problem with the network? People are logging off and then logging in. Hello. Okay, not an issue. Fine. So I'm continuing. So what I'll do, I've just mentioned, and you wanted to access anything in AWS using AWS CLI, you have to use the command with which is starting with AWS. Okay, any command you wanted to use with respect to AWS CLI, then you must need to use AWS, because that will make you understand. Okay, so there is a command executed with respect to AWS. Okay, so now what we do, we'll try to list something. Since we have given a storage, okay, S3 LS. Of course, we do not have anything, but we will still be able to execute that command. And not only this, executing the command, we can also create some storage. How do we do that? Okay, so to understand AWS S3, let's execute. Okay. I'll show you all the commands. So everything you get in AWS itself. So these are the commands which we can execute in AWS. Commands cp, mv, rm, and think mb, rb, ls. So these are all the commands we can execute, and all the commands you will get in AWS itself. What is this? Creating a bucket. Now what do? We'll just go create some buckets. Now AWS S3 MB make bucket. Okay, so create a bucket S3 slash. Always you have to follow these notations, and that is possible only when you have an IAM role attached to that. If no IAM role attached, you will not be able to do that. But in real time, what the challenges we face is, without an IAM role, you will not be able to do anything, of course. But when you have to do something, when you have to create something, you must need to authenticate yourself by providing your access key and secret access key. Here, this is how I've shown. But what happens is, when you provide your access key and secret access key, there will be a certain directory created automatically, which will have all the credential details. Okay, and in case, unfortunately or fortunately, if your EC2 instance or your server gets compromised by somebody else, automatically all the access key and secret access key is provided with that, and will be able to, that particular person with whom your instance compromise, okay, will be able to do anything, because your secret access key is provided to him automatically. There will be a directory created. In that directory, all the details are mentioned by default. So with respect to those details, the person can do anything. But the thing is, in real time, okay, to overcome this, of course, you can just attach an IAM role. But how do you trace which user is doing or performing some activity on that particular server? When an IAM role is attached to that, you will not do. Are you not able to see my screen? Hello? Are you all able to see my screen? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I'm talking about, yeah, IAM role. So what happens is when an IAM role is attached to your instance, everybody will get the access to that, whoever can log into that instance. So tracing people's activity will become difficult in this situation. So okay, thank you. So that is what the thing is. When you wanted to trace things, who is performing some activities, you must need to log in as a user by providing access key and secret access key. So in real time, we will never encourage providing an IAM role for an EC2 instance, because no one gets a clear picture about what user is creating or what user is doing what activities on the server. So this is what the server is. Now let's go create some bucket S3. Okay, what is the syntax we need to follow? AWS S3 make bucket MB and the bucket name. S3 colon slash slash my test buck 145. This is some name I'm giving. Let's go check. Okay, now go with AWS S3 -ls. Yes, you see, earlier we did not get any response that there are no buckets created. Do not worry, a bucket is nothing but a container in an S3 storage where you can just upload all your data into that. So we didn't get any response earlier when we typed AWS S3-ls because there were no buckets created. But now we have a bucket, a test bucket created now. So let's go to AWS and check. So this is what S3 storage going into that. You see my test bug 145 which we have created using AWS command line will be able to see now, because with respect to IAM role we can do that. Give me a sec. The thing is, what I wanted to tell you guys is, especially when an IAM role is not attached to that our EC2 instance, we will not be able to perform all these actions. So that is the main thing I wanted to tell you guys. But how can we do when no IAM role is attached to that and you wanted to do something? That is possible. You log in, okay, to any instance you create, and after once that instance is created, you need to provide your access key and secret access key manually. With respect to that, you yourself authenticate and get the access to do or perform any these activities. And into this bucket, you wanted to upload anything, you can upload, and that can be accessed over internet. Not to worry, even about S3 we will discuss in detail when a topic comes. So we have seen how an IAM role works with. Just check. Okay, creating another instance. We'll just see temporarily. We'll see creating another instance without IAM role and see whether we'll be able to perform all these actions or not. So I'm going with simple IAM machine AMI Linux AMI. Now without IAM role, I'm taking that. Okay, so I'll name this mm, without IAM role. I'll take for my understanding. I just need to tag that. See, with our today's class, we are preparing ourselves for auto scaling. Today, you may not understand why we are doing all this, but tomorrow you'll understand when we go create auto scaling group, and we will also understand what is auto scaling group and what for it is used. Yeah, our instance is ready. Go to that, copy it. Now we're going for another new session. Paste it over there. So what I'll do, I'll try to perform the same thing. AWS S3 LS. Let's see. Unable to locate credentials, you can configure credentials by running AWS configure. Earlier, okay, we have created an instance with an IAM role, and we could execute all these commands without any problem just because an IAM role is attached to that. And now you see, it is asking me, it is suggesting us to go configure yourself as an authenticated user. So that is the thing. Now what we have to do, let's go and configure ourselves. AWS configure. This is what I'm saying. You need to provide your credentials, your access key and secret access key to authenticate yourself when no IAM role is attached to your instance. Then only you'll be able to perform something, or you'll be able to create something in AWS. That may be a storage S3 bucket, or that may be anything based on the permissions given are provided to you. So I'm just running this command AWS configure. Why do we run this command? Why do we execute this command? To authenticate ourselves. Okay, yeah, I can do. I'm an authenticated person. I will be able to do anything. I'm having all that permissions to do execute anything. So for that reason, we will authenticate ourselves. Now what do you do here? It is asking for us about our secret access, access ID. Now the thing is, I have my access ID, but I truly do not have my secret access key. So what I'll do, I'll go to IAM. I'll show you all these things again when we talk about IAM. But for now, try to understand the things. I'm deleting this one. I'll create another one. Sure. So this is my access ID. Copying it, going to the instance. I'll paste. Okay. AWS access key ID. Enter. Then secret access key.
For the pasting, the same command used in Linux also. Control P.
Not control P. You have to right click. When you right click,
Okay.
automatically it will be pasted.
Oh,
Control P won't work there. And secret access key I'm providing. Enter. The default region name. In which region you are currently. So to understand that, what you do, we are currently in Sydney region. Go to your dashboard. You will have your regions. Okay, the running instances will go. Even in regions you will have, dashboard you will find, or here also you will find anything you select without, irrespective of the alphabet. Okay, you copy things till that. So control C. The alphabets are zones. Every zone will have an alphabet. So if you copy till the alphabet, just before the alphabet, that will be your region. So that needs to be copied and mentioned here. Which region you wanted to perform, you wanted to authenticate yourself. So this is what I have mentioned, the region name. And default output format, I don't wanted to give any format for our outputs. If you are specific, you can provide. You wanted to get all the formats in JSON format, or you wanted to get all the formats in some other format, you can just only some normal file, a normal text file or something like that. You can provide that, but for now I don't wanted any specific formats to create, so not giving anything, just enter.
can we do it like we want in a Word document like that?
What? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Whichever the format you wanted to execute your files, you wanted to access your files, you need to provide that. But when you specifically provide something over there, you will be able to access only that format files. Now I don't wanted to do that because I wanted it for my testing purpose. Okay, so I have a server authenticated by myself, providing access key, secret access key, okay, and the region in which I wanted to perform all these things. Earlier when I have typed AWS S3LS, I did not get any access or anything, because it has suggested for me saying I need to configure my credentials. Now let's execute the same command, let's see what happens. See, we got the output my test bug 145 earlier, which we did not get. So provided with an IAM role, we need not to access or authenticate ourselves with all these things. We need not to configure ourselves that okay, I am authenticated to perform all these actions. The challenge is, if you just go to home, okay, CD, just nothing but coming out of my thing. I just came to home thing. You see EC2 hyphen user. From that I just came to tilde. This is what the symbol tilde. I came here. Then now ls hyphen a is for ls is for listing all the things, all the files and directories in my server, and hyphen a is used to list all the hidden files. So when I say enter, I got all these objects. If you just type simply ls, you do not get any output. But if you just type ls-a, you will get all these files or folders listed because they are all hidden. How do you identify whether they are hidden files or not? If you just see a dot before their file name, okay, a dot before their file name, those are hidden files. If there is no dot just before the file name or the directory name, then they are not hidden. So all these are hidden just because there is a dot just before the file or directory name. How do you identify whether it is a file or directory? If you find things in blue color, they are directories. If you find the things in normal plain text that's in white color, then they are normal simple files. So every file or directory has a dot just before that. It's because they are all hidden. Now let's go to cd aws. This is the file we are trying to when you double click on that, it is selected, which means it is copied, and now just right click so that it will be pasted. Right click is the option to paste things in Linux. Enter. Now we are in .aws directory. From tilde we have come to .aws. Let's see what and all we have in this. ls, we have config and credentials. Okay, let's see. Now tell me whether these two config and credentials are files or directories. Yes, they are files or directories.
Files.
Yeah.
Files.
Okay. How do you identify that?
They are not in blue color.
Exactly. They are not in blue color. Now can you just tell me whether they are hidden files or a normal file?
Normal files.
Because
Because there is no dot in front of the file name.
exactly. So how do you check what and all? Yes, exactly. Thank you very much for your inputs. This is what I wanted. But still, I'm getting outputs from, input from a couple of guys only. I wanted everybody to be, part of our sessions. Now, how do we check the data in the files using more command or cat command? Cat will give you the output. You will be able to see all the things in that file, but it will directly take you to the last page. For example, if there are 4 to 5 pages, it will just quickly read all the first to 3 or 4 pages. For example, there are 5 pages. It will quickly read all the 4 pages, first 4 pages, and take you to the last fifth page directly. But you wanted to check page by page what that file is having in each page, then you have to check using more command. So more credentials, alt, alt, tab. You see, it's mentioned your secret access key and access key here. So what we have done, we have just gone to the home directory. That's by executing a command cd. So cd is not only for change directory. When you say cd and some directory name, it will take you to that particular directory. If not, if you just simply execute command cd, then it will make you come out of a particular directory wherever you are in. So that's what we have done. We have just come out of a particular directory, from that to home. So that home is mentioned with this tilde button, and checked what and all the hidden files we have. In that we have a directory .aws. In that .aws, if you just go in and check, there are 2 files, config and credentials. In that, if you go and check your credentials file, it will have your secret access key and access key. This is the challenge in real time. What happens is, if you wanted to access something, some AWS resources, then automatically, okay, you need to authenticate yourself by providing access key and secret access key. But those details are here in this AWS file. It's a hidden directory, but you will find it in that. Okay, if your server gets compromised by somebody, you will get that particular person will get all these details and can do anything by providing this access key and secret access key. But in real time, we must have to do this, because to track which person is doing what. So who is performing these actions, whether an S3 bucket is created or an S3 bucket is deleted. So all these things needs to be tracked by people. That is the reason why they make you you know uh, they ask you to log in with respect to these credentials. Now what do we do? Okay, we will just go delete that bucket whichever we have created and check whether we can do it from here or not. So what is the command to be executed to delete a bucket? You see, removing buckets, AWS
Yeah.
S3 RB and S3 colon / bucket name. Now let's go and execute the same command. S3, sorry, AWS S3, okay, RB, remove bucket,
Column.
S3 colon / bucket name. What is the bucket name? I just wanted to copy and execute here. Remove bucket. AWS S3 LS. Do you have anything? Nothing, because we have deleted. Yes. Let's go to our account and check. Earlier we had a bucket. Now there is no bucket. all buckets if we go and refresh the page. See, there are no buckets now. When there are no buckets, it will come like this. Okay, welcome to Amazon Simple Storage Service. Create a bucket. Because there are no buckets created in your region or account. Because we have created using command line and we have also deleted using command line, but created from a server which has an IAM role, deleted from a server which do not have an IAM role. But how could we do that? The server which do not have an IAM role, we ourselves have authenticated by providing our access key and secret access key. So this is needed for you to perform some actions in real time. Okay. The similar thing. Okay. I have shown creating an S3 bucket, but you can create anything using these credentials. You want to create an EC2 server, you can still do that by accessing. Sorry, please mute yourself. So you can still do that. For that, you know what you have to do. You need to know the commands, but don't worry. All the commands are available in the AWS itself. The moment you search for commands, you will get. Now these are all the commands about a bucket. Okay. S3 bucket. How do we create, delete, list, and all? You have all those things here in this, and you wanted some more things, some other service commands, you will still get in AWS itself. Nothing is hidden from AWS. Everything you wanted to get, you will be able to get. Use that and perform things. This is something I wanted to show you. The other thing I wanted to show you is using launching an instance using a bash script or bootstrap script. Why do we need to have a script? First point. Okay, it's because when autoscaling needs to launch instances, what is an autoscaling? Autoscaling always performs some actions, okay, and spin up or spin down instances. What for? For example, you have a website and that website is announced, that website announced some specific offers for a specific day, and number of people accessing that website has increased because when you mention a specific sale, a discount sale, obviously people accessing to that website increases normally. Of course everybody does that. you know a particular shirt for about 4,000 is sold for just because 4,000 rupees, just for rupees 500 or 600. Obviously people go for buying it, isn't it, if the shirt is really very good of your choice. The similar thing is everybody, people who do not wanted it also still try to log in to check whether he can do something or he can buy something, or just for time pass. Obviously the number of people accessing to a website increases. What happened? Number of people accessing a website increases, the load to the server increases. In that situation, the load balancer you know notify, okay, with respect to the alarm created, it notifies, okay boss, my server's load is increasing, you please create few more servers to the environment and make them serve all these huge load hitting to our website. Then it needs to auto scaling automatically needs to spin up servers. How does it spin up the servers? Of course, it will spin up the servers, but the servers are of normal servers with AWS, Amazon Linux, AMI and all. Okay, but what about the website created in it? It will create a server, of course, without any doubt, but to use those servers live for our production to meet up all that requirement and serve the website, okay, it needs to have the website created in it, isn't it? The website created in it. How is that possible? So for that, what do we do is we will create a server. First of all, what I'll do, I'll just go delete these two things which we do not need now. Okay, I just wanted to show you something. Um, do we have created any web servers onto these servers, these instances? No, right? So since we have not created any web servers, we will not be able to access them anything over internet. So what I'll do, I'll just delete them, go create an instance with a bootstrap script or a bash script which will directly create a web server on behalf of us so that we can directly log into that. So this script is very much needed for us to have an auto scaling, so that the auto scaling automatically spin up the instances based on our requirements. Clear? So the servers which we have created earlier are getting terminated. What do? We will go create another instance with respect to a script which will directly have created a website in it, and that can be accessed by we people. But where do we give that script? Can anybody tell me? Yes? Where do we put that script? Anybody? Fine. You guys have no idea. The script, when we are launching an instance, where do we put our script? It's not Linux. Of course, whether it is a Linux machine or a Windows machine, anything it is. Sai, what about you?
You go to configuration instance, additional data.
It's not additional data, user data. Very good, you have come up with the things. So we go to launch instance, select Linux AMI, T2 micro instance by default, and here in this configure instances, go down, you will find additional advanced data. In that you'll find user data. Okay, here in this user data, we just mention our script. So what's a script? What we do to create a website? Can you just tell me the commands? First, what do? We update our server with all the new packages. So yum update -y. The next, but before that, what we have to do to execute a script? we need to give a format to that. What is this to be performed? So that for that, what we do, hash. Okay, I'll just enter it. Hash exclamatory slash bin slash bash, because this is a bash script. Okay, so this is what we have to give. This is compulsory. Hash exclamatory slash bin slash bash. Then the code or the script, whatever we are going to execute. Okay, so we are doing this. Now what do we do? Yum update -y. After that, yum install okay, so that's done. After that, you need to start its service um, http the start. Then after that you need to reboot chk config, then http the on. Then what you need to do, so with respect to this, you have created your web server onto that. Okay, so this is all we have to do. We performed. Then let's go and execute this command. Sorry, these things to see whether we will be able to have any web server created onto it or not. Once this is done, what we have to do, we just need to go create a web page directly. Okay, that we will not do for now, but go to the next, add storage. I'll name this as web server. Then yes, our server is getting ready. What we have to do, we need to check whether our web server has Apache installed in it or not. How do we check that? Without logging into that, okay, we will directly check whether there is any web server created or not. How do you do that? We go copy its public IP and paste it in another new terminal, new page. Inject. Let's wait for 2x2 status checks. Once this is come up, we will stop our class for today. And tomorrow we'll check auto scaling. See here, Amazon Linux AMI test page. It has come up here because we have not created any web page. Of course, it's still getting ready, but still we got our web page. What is that web page? This is the web page, Amazon Linux AMI test page, which means though we have not created any HTML pages, index.html or healthcheck.html or something.html, any HTML page we could get, because when there is no HTML page created, by default it will route to the test pages. So the test page is this, Amazon Linux AMI. Earlier it has come with no some output, but once the server is ready, we got this. Okay, so this is what. For information on AWS Linux AMI, please visit AWS website. This web page is used to test the proper operation of the Apache HTTP server after it has been installed. If you can read this page, it means that the Apache HTTP server installed at this site is working properly, isn't it? So without your intervention, without you logging into this server, you got a web server created into that, and then you will be able to access that over internet. How comfortable is that? So with these user scripts, bash scripts, you will create instances which will make these instances live or ready for your production, and that is what we will do with respect to auto scaling. So we mention in the auto scaling that to create instances with the certain script, so that they automatically create instances with whatever the configuration we wanted, we need to have, and all the websites or all the things created ready-madely onto that, so that we will be able to have something. Are you all clear with this? Yes? Hello? If yes, it's fine. If there is anything you wanted to clarify, you please ask me, or else we will stop our class for today. Anything, any doubts you wanted to clarify here? And yeah, one more simple thing. I think I have terminated these two instances. Okay, what I'll do, I will launch this instance and show you something. Just to show you something, I'm just launching this instance. We have seen how user data works, alright? and we will see metadata. You know what do you mean by metadata? User data is anything you initially mention in the configurational stuff that is to be executed while the instance is booting by itself or launching by itself, so that whatever the commands you mention in that user data will be executed and created. And metadata, what do you mean by metadata? Did I discuss anything about it?
Configuration stuff.
Yep.
It is some configuration stuff, sir.
Yes, exactly. Very good. So metadata is nothing but it is the configurational stuff of all the instance. So how do we check that metadata? Okay. So to check that, log into your or launch your instance, and in that you need to use this command curl. Make a note of this particular point. http colon slash slash 169. This is pretty easy to remember, but still if you wanted you can just make a note of. Curl is the command used to be executed. Then this is what you need to remember. http colon slash slash 169.254 dot 169.254 slash, okay, latest slash meta hyphen data. This is the command to be executed. Oh, why is it not getting? '69 254 and listen to the latest. Mm. Okay, I'll show you this a little later. I don't know why it's not getting, but the moment you execute this command, it should give a list of all the metadata about its public IP, private IP, the instance type, and the storage available to that. All the stuff should be created to that. Fine, I'll just check and then get back to you in the next class. But this is what I wanted to show you. Remember this command. This is the command to be executed. Curl http colon slash slash 169.254 169.254. Okay. and slash latest slash meta hyphen data. With this command, we will check the instance configurational stuff, whatever the data it is. It's configurational stuff. Clear, guys? So I'm open to you. Anything you wanted to clarify, you can just ask me. If not, we will just end up our session for today.
Hello.
Matrices. Where did we see matrices?
Monitoring, sir. In monitoring.
Okay. See, matrices are nothing but with respect to that matrices only, we will be able to check. Now, what you wanted to check? Okay, you wanted to notify or you wanted to have a detailed monitoring about something that may be EBS, elastic block storage, or that may be load balancer ELB, that may be EC2 instance. So what you wanted to check in that? You wanted to check CPU utilization, you wanted to check its throughput, you wanted to check its performance. What you wanted to check in that? In the detailed monitoring. So for that, you need to have a matrix created. That's what we have created the other day, like yesterday, in our previous class with respect to an alarm. So whenever an alarm created, you need to have a matrix created to that. So with respect to that matrix, it will work. So we have mentioned in that what matrix we have created. CPU utilization is the matrix we have created. So it will work with that matrix. Okay, whenever the CPU utilization of my instance or our instance goes beyond that or less than so much, we have given the other day, when it is lesser than 20%, it needs to be terminated. So that is what matrix. Matrix is the basic thing which we have to create in order to function something in monitoring stuff. With respect to that only, we will be able to do that. Clear? Yes, Chandra? Okay, anything? Guys, anything you wanted to clarify? If there's no doubt, then we will end up this session for today. Tomorrow we will meet and check auto scaling. So that is the very important thing. Once we do that, we understand that we are done with our EC2 section. Once EC2 is finished, understand 40% of your course is done, because EC2 is such an important topic, such a huge topic which we have to understand. And please practice everything whichever we have discussed for today. Yeah, whoever have doubts can stay back, rest can leave, so that all the doubts we will discuss. Sai is saying something that, okay,